Your Daily 180, 180 seconds of pure Bible study.
This week we're talking about the grace of God and the church which belongs to Jesus, the church of Christ. We're talking about the ideal that we find within the pages of the Bible. I don't always measure up as I should, and so I'm so grateful for the grace of God. He extended it to me based on His love, and He asked me to respond in love. Jesus explains that when we love Him, we'll keep His commandments, John 14, verse 15. Today I want us to look at Ephesians chapter 1, specifically verse 8, but I want to back up to verse number 7. We looked at that yesterday. Look at verse number 7 again. In Him we have redemption through His blood, that's the sacrifice, the forgiveness of sins according to the riches of His grace. Now we're going to mention something about riches here in just a moment, but it goes along with what we see in verse number 8, which He made to abound toward us in all wisdom and prudence. This grace is based upon His riches, and it abounds toward us. When we think about riches, if you think about a poor man, or if you think about someone who is among the working poor, he has just enough to get by. Maybe not even enough to get by. Maybe he struggles every day. But when we talk about riches, we're talking about overflowing, more than you need. And then he goes on to talk about an abundance. Now, there's another word, this could be translated in another way, and that is the idea of lavished. His grace which He lavished on us. It's as if He just doted on us. He just gave us more grace than we really needed. And you see, that's an amazing thing, because I think about me, and I think about my shortcomings. I think about my out and out rebellion against God. And I can think back to times in my life when I was just so rebellious and spat in the face of God, and I think to myself, how could He ever forgive me? But here we're assured, you know what? We have an abundance, a richness of grace. He just lavished that grace upon us. Now, we looked at this the other day in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 32. What an encouraging thing this is to realize in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 32. This is the kind of grace we need to have toward one another. He says that we are to be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God in Christ forgave you. God forgave us when we were a rebellious people. When we submitted to Him and surrendered, He forgave us. And we need to be the same way toward one another. Join us again next week.